automatically you will find somebody is a liar.
Actually, generally think that women are resources of men. How can a resource harm a resource?
A beautiful day breaks in Atiak village, Amuru district, a sign of a bright future. This trading center gives you all indications that development is in high gear. Tin roofs are slowly replacing the grass-thatched houses. This was formerly an internally displaced people's camp. People took refuge here when the Lord's Resistance Army rebels led by Joseph Kony went on rampage, killing innocent civilians. When the government forces flashed out the rebels, the camp was disbanded and people went back to their ancestral lands. However, settling in their ancestral land came at a high cost. In 2012, ActionAid, in partnership with Danish television group, carried out a needs assessment in Amuru district and found out that the women and the youth here needed empowerment to access, control and own resources.
This project was designed to address the needs of women and the youth that are going back, so that at least we can empower them to ensure that they use land which is available to improve on their livelihood.
The communities were used to food handouts from NGOs and government. To break this dependence, government rolled out a number of programs such as NADS, NUSAF and NUREP. But on the ground, there is nothing to show that these interventions have impacted positively on the lives of the people. Instead, they are wallowing in poverty and food insecure. Women cannot access land, which is a factor of production. According to Acholi culture, women do not own land.
Key resources like land, like animals at home, they are not supposed to be owned by women. Not only widow, but we look at women in general. So, because of that, actually generally think that women are resources of men. So how can a resource harm a resource? That has been a negative aspect in our culture.
ActionAid, in collaboration with Partner for Community Development, PCD, and Forum for Community Transformation, has brought a ray of hope to the survivors of land injustice. Ato Vicky, a mother of two, is battling with her uncle to retain her late father's land. She is a widow and taking care of other 12 orphans. The land in question is at the heart of the sub-county, which is growing fast into a township. During the insurgency, her father's land was turned into a camp for the internally displaced persons. When the war ended, people started going back to their ancestral land. However, two families refused to return to their ancestral land under the pretext that they are paying ground rent to Vicky's uncle. Being a woman, Vicky's uncle is using all tricks, including the cultural beliefs, to throw her out of the land.
That widows have got a lot of problems, widows and orphans across the district. It is something very strange. By tradition, actually used not to behave like that. We used to take care of our relatives.
When she reported the matter to the LC1 chairperson, there was no positive response. The entire leadership at the sub-county seems not to agree with her. When the documentation team was conducting this interview with Vicky, the vice chairperson of the sub-county was around and he had agreed to give an interview. But he mysteriously disappeared without giving notice.
Even the sub-county people, the LCs, these are like LCs, they always get elderly people. So these are the technical people who always help us so much to see that the issue of land is properly handled. But there's a big problem we are seeing nowadays. Even the elders who could help us, they're being compromised.
Vicky is alone and sandwiched by her adversaries. Her moment of relief, however, came when she heard of the Legal Aid Week organized by ActionAid. She presented her problem.
Inge bino ma joni enu bino ni en still musée riem da bino da ko yerro we ganka ni pinga we ko jono ma ko sel meno ana mer char ngom ko ana neno ka ana bi char ngom pa bana ma waxe kere ma ana dakhon pa bi char ngom ni wali tik eni tie ngar mo ma bi char ngom pa ana dakhon ma lay ma ta o ge ganka.
During the Legal Aid Week, the Amuru team handled a total of 70 clients. The total number of 58 females sought legal advice. 17 were handled in Amuru, while 41 were handled in Pader. Although Vicky has managed to keep her enemies at bay, she is slowly waning down. Her health is not in a good condition. She is battling with HIV.
Bene tie matere como piani kawa fugi en na no futa eto don ka ne lu tiano futeno no mier an la dira bedi chochok ke gi wek olo togo tim wek won no kem cham.
With this condition, she struggles to fend for her children by planting crops. But her effort is frustrated by her uncle, who releases goats to destroy her crops.
Any corner. And then I'll pick a nail with you and maybe maybe when deal Matia Jamon. Dear, when dear, maybe a tongue we do not born a good to the side and get Jamadu, the beginning when I get an animal can do to you and only you went to Bukan.
Her hope lies in the hands of ActionAid.
The land that Vicky has, is in a peri-urban sort of setting, but it has value. We have just seen the crops. The crops that she has grown, goats are feeding on, is not going anywhere. But also, we think if we sit with the district and the sub-counties, we can handle this case of Vicky and resolve. If they want to stay in this land, then they need to go into an arrangement, an agreement with Vicky, so that the terms are very clear. You just only say that you're not going to get out because Vicky is a woman. That is an unacceptable way of treating a human being.
Reviving the hope of this community has been at the core of ActionAid interventions. Oringa Walter is one of the beneficiaries who got seed inputs from ActionAid.
Ana per mega no obero tia para boro ngutia para boro eoni okonya kin mi chulo kwan awele ko de diegi mukene kido mukene okonya mi medo ko fu a were mo ka mukaroni dok oro a per en ful na chele pian ful eoni ere an prati akubuna ti chero ko da nyima nyim a pero a ter gutia pia de ko are o maker beristo ngutia pia de ko are o en charo kwanya jem pol piano welo ko de fu mara mangwen ero ke gumara fura chielo to tenio en ma aneno ne kwanye e oni no tie amukana welo ko de kolla bolo ma chana per la bolo o ma o ter mi angwen ma mati bia ne tie mi angwen ki pia reo.
He has since diversified from one crop to the other. With support from his wife, they have managed to set up a banana plantation and a rice field. Since then, Walter has never looked back. He is now eyeing the market at the border of Uganda and South Sudan.
For the first place, market is there. But what our farmers face is the challenges of standards and post-harvest handling. We have buyers who would come with their quality standards because what they're buying, they're going to sell it to other markets. So our farmers really don't have that standard known to them. And whenever they produce, you find some of their products are adulterated. Like, for example, Sim, you find it is mixed with stones, it is having other chaff and other products that do not really attract high prices.
In a bid to reduce the challenges of post-harvest handling, ActionAid built this storage facility.
In the community store that we have put in Guru, we want to use it as a model to showcase to government that yes, if communities, smallholder farmers are targeted and supported well, actually we can revamp the cooperative movement.
However, his biggest challenge is the poor road network. The road leading to the market is dotted with water ponds. And it's muddy.
To access the good market, you need good roads. And in Amuru, there are very few good roads, feeder roads. And the farmers are far miles apart from each other. And many farmers do prefer selling alone.
The authorities haven't taken it up as a priority.
So we have recruited the road gang, but supervision has been very challenging since we have very few staff at the district, yes, in the engineering department.
To address such challenges, ActionAid empowered the youth to track resources that have been allocated by government. First, they formed a reflect group. The group convenes under this tree to deliberate on issues that affect their community.
We were trained how to monitor resource mobilization, allocation, and utilization. We are scattered in every village of the 3 sub-counties. Like here, we have our representative. Also in every villages, we have our representative. I, for one, I come from Toro village, Torokal village. So we always use our network of deploying ourselves. We go and get reports. We compile those reports, then we call people together in the meeting.
Maluka ke scorecard eoni wana pa mati school ka eni ka wana pa eoni chi dong wan dong wa met ke ranyi manyin maluka ki community scorecard.
And after agreeing on key issues, they set out to meet the concerned people at the health unit.
We realized that the scorecard was there but was not recorded, was not being used. And the rate of completion of drug was too high.
It is true we still have the stockouts. It is not because the drugs are being taken away, but it is because they are brought in. Some of the drugs are brought in small amount, and others they are in larger amounts. So you find that those ones in small amounts, we normally run sort of it. Stock out.
And in order to track well these resources, they use the scorecard method. Through this method, they discovered that some drugs delivered by government end up in a local drug shop.
We went and trapped one VHT who was on the move of taking the drug to a certain clinic. And by that, we also went to that clinic because the one of the clinic did not know that we were tracking them. We realized that there was the Coartem and also the Panadol, paracetamol, were there, on which it was labeled the UG. The attendants and the VHT were all arrested. We took them to the police post, and these people were taken before court. They were given punishment of community services. They slashed the sub-county, the town council headquarters for 3 months.
This group has become a force of transformation in this district.
I personally, I took my time to monitor. The beauty is that they have brought element of governance because the group in their meeting sit in a circle, which portray that even if you want to fear that you are a leader, you are all at same level, and each of everyone would be able to observe the eyes of the others. So they have developed spirit of how to speak well, not to fear, to come out with issues. I took my time to monitor.
At one time, they staged a peaceful demonstration demanding accountability from their leaders. And as a result of their actions, some leaders have been reprimanded while others have been demoted.
Having been trained by ActionAid as people who should know their rights and exercise it, activists, we started writing letter of inquiries because we learned that all the staff of the district were commuting from Gulu. We requested the cow to tell us that from which account are they using the fuel. So he failed to come to us, and also we wrote to the LC5, being the political head of the district. He also refused to turn up. It was investigated and it was realized that the fund was lost. And the chief financial officer was tasked to pay back the money. And he paid the money. He was sacked off. Even the cow was removed. But later on, he was demoted. He was demoted and transferred as assistant cow of another district.
Provision of legal aid services to the vulnerable poor and empowering former internally displaced persons through livelihood has proved a success. But will the communities be able to sustain themselves without further intervention from development partners?
Well, I think the issue of sustainability, farmers are not supposed to be given seeds from now on. But farmers should be supported with the means of how they can access the seeds. Now that they have the money, they should be linked up to the seed sellers, the local seed business and maybe other seed dealers, such that they can be able to go and buy the seeds themselves. Of course, in the district here, we are trying to register import dealers with seeds inclusive. So we shall be able to tell them that whoever wants an improved seed can come and buy from this seed dealer. And we encourage most of them also to establish seed business.
The demand for the service is so huge. Legal aid system, the judiciary system in Uganda, accessing them is not easy. How do we make it go nearer to the communities? Most of the smallholder farmers, women and widows often cannot afford those services. And my understanding is that if we could get more funding, then we should be targeting those approaches of getting this thing down at the parish and sub-county levels. We need a huge investment if at all we are going to talk about validation. Remember, we have only had one machinery. That alone is like a drop in the ocean, in a sea. So we needed to do more input to make sure people get money at household level.
But it remains to be seen whether those in positions of leadership will take it as a cardinal rule that delivering adequate social service to the people is not a favor, but a right enshrined in the Constitution of Uganda.
I promise to testify also through letter. The way ActionAids are implementing their activity has improved so greatly to the way that can bring harmony. The district leadership could really understand that ActionAid now they are pushing for service delivery.
The DTV project has been an eye-opener for the massive need of similar interventions to improve access to justice, foster improved livelihoods, and also contribute to post-conflict rehabilitation efforts in the region.